Ask whatever you want about decaffeination. I invented it.
Well, it's a nice, delicate, gentle, kind of classic profile.
Yeah.
Washed.
Very fragrant.
Latin American, probably, maybe, possibly Africa. It's just sort of compressed. I think it's very nice. It just doesn't quite open up and with layers of aromatic possibility. But it's true that we've had other coffees that haven't opened up with multi-layered possibility also. What I've noticed, of course, with decafs is that the acidy brightness that some people love in coffee and others don't like is typically softened in...
It's muted, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the case here. I mean, but it's there. It's a at least in the nose, it's a vibrant. Well, what do you think?
I think if I were in a coffee shop and I was served this cup of coffee, I would really like it quite a bit. And I am anti-decaf, so I'm overcoming that.
Decaffeinated coffees often, at least in the past, when I've done all of these tastings, they often have a kind of a woody character. And I'm not getting that here. I'm getting a sort of a rounded, muted, delicate, in other words, not a forceful profile at all, but pleasant and balanced, of course. There's a little hint of dryness, of astringency, but not too much. The sweetness balances it. It fades pretty quickly in the finish. The flavors
there's not a long
fade
finish.
quickly.
That's absolute. Yeah.
As far as specific notes, they're rather generic. I'm getting stone fruit, some
Stone fruit, right.
apricot maybe. But there are floral notes, I think. Again, not very distinctive, sweet floral notes. Jasmine.
A lot of times things come to in a visual text. This is like a photograph that I took, and the sharpness was set lower. It just doesn't have as much detail. Yeah.
Right. That's very well said, Kevin. Right. It doesn't have detail. It's not articulated. The aromatic notes are not articulated and distinct. But the basic, what I call a structure, the balance of basic tastes and sweet, bitter, and tart are pleasantly coherent and satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good cup. If I were anywhere and they served it to me, I would be very happy with it.
If I push a little bit, I find those wood notes are characteristic of some decafs. Certainly not lively and aromatic wood. It's more like a lumberyard wood, but it's it's not unpleasant really, and it's not that prominent. It doesn't sit on anything. So what is this, Kevin? Can we?
Okay. Oh. Let me. No, that's it. That's part of the package. I thought it was a note.
It's George Howell.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, it should be good, George.
George, yes, George.
Columbia.
Yeah.
Jardin.
Columbia. It's a Colombian
Decaf.
Jardin. Yeah, decaf. And it is methylene chloride. I was able to find one.
Does it say it's a direct solvent or indirect?
I don't think he gets into that kind of detail. He didn't on the website. I'm just looking to know. It's a Colombian coffee, a washed, no doubt it's a washed.
One of the generalizations that came out in discussing decaffeinated coffees at panel was it could be that the solvent methods preserve more of the coffee, the genuine coffee. They interfere less in the cup. I think that this is quieted As a high-altitude Columbia coffee, it should be much more forceful in the acidity, have a heavier mouthfeel. Pleasant mouthfeel, though. It has some viscosity. Does he call it European process or?
Germany, so it's processed in Germany.
Yeah. That's a good start, but that's setting the bar rather high. That's what they say.
Yeah,
that sets the bar rather high.
I want to just point out, if anyone's curious to try this, now is the time, because I spoke with George directly about this coffee, and he said, that's the last one I'm using this process with. He said he's switching to other processes. He didn't give me a reason why he's switching, but I think historically, someone who's really interested might want to try it just to taste it, because it's typical. Let's put it this way: it's typical of a really high quality, decaffeinated coffee, in that it's still a good coffee. It is grown really high too. You're right, 5,100 to 6,900 feet. I mean, that ought to be more brightness, frankly, to this, but.
Well,
still, it's a decent coffee.
Decaffeination definitely rounded and simplified it, but there's a lot pleasant that's been left in the cup. I think probably when people who drink decaf only in the evenings, they don't want to get anything too exciting anyhow, right? Sort of calm themselves for the bed.
If you really want to calm yourself, you can always go to instant decaf, as a Sanka.
Don't get snotty about decaf.
I'm getting flippant, really. I know.
I'm going to stand up for the rights and prerogatives of the decaf drinker. I should say that we've been dropping George Howell's name. George is one of the greats of specialty coffee. He started Coffee Connection, which was a kind of a lighter roasting version of Pete's in Boston at the very start of the specialty coffee movement, and later sold it, became a consultant because he had a non-compete for 10 years. So George did some amazing work in those 10 years, and one of his pieces of work was collaborating on starting the Cup of Excellence. He was one of 3 people who thought of the first Cup of Excellence. And now, of course, green coffee competitions are everywhere. Huge amounts of money are paid for the winning coffees. I think George and Silvia Leite, who is a Brazilian man, a great coffee taster, still working in Brazil. A man named Marcelo Vieira. The 3 of them, another Brazilian, came up with the concept. And then George, in 2004, George was the first in the middle of all of the dark roasting. George, I believe, was the first coffee company to offer only single origin coffees, medium to light roasted. In other words, George really started the third wave.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is associated with younger roasters, but George took the first step, and still at it.
Yeah, I think there's a wide appreciation of that too with the other third wave roasters. I think they always look to George as kind of the mentor of it, and which he was. I remember I actually would route my travel. I frequently went to Ireland at the time, and I would route my travel through Boston just mostly so I could stop at the Coffee Connection. And it was George, and I'm sure some HR person's watching now and is going to try to bill me back for that, but it was a little extra. But I met George, I met Robert Ditala, his roast master, and I was like a fanboy. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more shows like this.